If you like magical realism, if you like mythic storytelling, if you enjoy a Quaker Mezi, if you enjoy good books, if you enjoy good books, you should read Vagabonds. So my task for this video is to convince you guys to read Vagabonds, and I feel like this should be an easy thing to do, guys, because Vagabonds is one of the best books I've read this year. To put it shortly, to put it simply, Vagabonds is just an amazing debut by osunde, which just has everything you want in a magical realism story. I would say that this is magical realism done to perfection. It's just a beautiful deconstruction of Lagos, Nigeria, and I just need to yell to everyone about this book. So Vagabonds is a magical realism short story collection which centers on the city of Lagos, but specifically the vagabonds of Lagos, the outcasts, the outsiders, the nonconformists, the free spirits who Lagos punishes because of their outsiderness. And we see Lagos interpreted as this city spirit echo, and echo basically does not believe that these vagabonds fit the aesthetic of Lagos. They do not belong in Lagos and they shouldn't be in Lagos. But also the story kind of sees the contradiction of that, because they may not belong in Lagos, but they are also the heart, soul, and spirit of Lagos. So you can't just get rid of that. osunde does such a great job of injecting Lagos with this wondrous spirit, this energy, and describing the city of Lagos in such a spiritual, magical way, and in a way that's so believable. I think that's the thing. I think like the magical realism in this book just feels so believable. My dad's from Nigeria, and whenever he talks about Nigeria and the stories he talks about Nigeria, it just does feel like this book reflects some of that kind of chaotic energy that is inherent in Lagos. And I just really love that, just seeing the chaoticness of Lagos through this magical lens, which was also just very believable. And even some of the stories are talked about in this book, some of the stories that they're talking about, I swear my dad has talked about the same kind of similar stories. So I don't know, it's just a very entertaining read in that aspect. I really love the use of characters in this book as well, because there is like a kind of a vast cast of characters, all of them very like compelling, and I really did enjoy all of their individual stories and how they all come together in the end. But I just really loved how it was just so purposeful. I would like compare it to the way Quaker Emeze uses characters in their books as well. Just very purposeful, very intentful, and it means that like you're always kind of drawn, you're always compelled to whatever's going on in the narrative, because you know that there's a larger picture, there's a larger patchwork that osunde is creating with these characters, and the kind of mirror image of Lagos through this very like distorted lens. osunde's writing is compelling and vivid without it feeling heavy or just over lush. Let's say it's very concise, and you understand what she's trying to say, and you understand the picture that she's trying to paint in your mind. And I'd really encourage you guys to listen to the audiobook of Vagabonds, because it adds such a texture to the story. There's a lot of like Nigerian colloquialisms used, and just the speech patterns, and like pidgin is used a lot in the book. Not all audiobooks add stuff to the book, and sometimes it detracts from the book, let's be honest. But for Vagabonds, that is absolutely not the case, and I would really encourage you guys to listen to the audiobook. Like, if you have a choice of how you will read this book, audiobook, seriously. So let's talk about some of the stories in Vagabonds, because we do really have like an eclectic mix of stories here. So in one story you have like the devil taking over a person's body for lust reasons, let's say that. In another story we have a community where the women are deciding to like disappear from that reality because of patriarchy, and because the men are like so abusive to them. But we also have like less kind of magical supernatural stories. So one story is just exploring the underground sex work world of Lagos, and we have also another story which is just about a character exploring her queer identity and her mother kind of being a full supporter of this change. To be honest, queer identity and queerness in general is explored in most, if not all, of the stories, and I really enjoyed how some stories it was just kind of just like the text. It was kind of like, these characters are queer and this is what's going on, and in other stories it took more of a prominent focus and stance in the story, and I kind of just liked that variety. And I also just liked the variety of the type of exploration we were getting. It wasn't just the joy, but it wasn't just the dark as well. It was a lovely kind of mix, and it just made the overall story about Sunday was trying to tell just so much more like real and dense. Do you know what I mean? It didn't feel like anything was surface level. It felt like we're really getting a lovely deep dive into queerness in a city that wants to shun you and wants to kind of put you to the side, but also can't live without you. There was a constant metaphor of masks and deception and how those in power are able to just like change themselves, and I really enjoyed the stories that dealt with that and really interrogated the insidious nature of Lagos and how evil is just kind of swept under the rug if you are worshipping the god money. Like, money is named as a god in Vagabonds. It made the stories have this kind of this epic quality, and do you know what I mean? It made the stakes feel so much like higher almost in certain stories, and I think it just added to the overall tone of Vagabonds, which I really loved, which was basically this mythical, legend-esque, you know, saga like kind of tone. Like, we're really telling the story of Lagos, Nigeria. It just added so much more to Vagabonds, you know what I mean? It just made it all that much more like enjoyable to read. In the end, I think Vagabonds just does a really terrific job in dismantling society and then putting it back together again in this supernatural, magical way where extremes are highlighted and extremes are acknowledged. We're able to expose all of this ugliness which usually would be concealed. I cannot wait for Sunday's next book because she is just such a beautiful, creative writer, and the way she handled this story, which could have easily been very messy, very much without heart, without soul, but didn't manage to make it very heartfelt, very human, was just amazing. I cannot wait for her next book because it might be another autobiography, guys. Like, it was actually that good. Like, oh my gosh, I love Vagabonds, and I need to get a physical copy because it needs to be in my book collection, like, for sure. If you like magical realism, if you like mythic storytelling, if you enjoy a vivid cast of characters, if you enjoy a Kweke Emezi, like, if you enjoy those things, if you enjoy good books, if you enjoy good books, you should read Vagabonds because it's a brilliant debut. It's an absolutely stunning debut. Just wow. I hoped it was gonna be good, but I didn't know it was gonna be this good. It was just like wow. But that's my book review for Eloghosa's Osunde's Vagabonds. Please let me know if you've read this book. If you're thinking about reading this book, please let me know down below. And remember to follow me on Twitter and subscribe to my channel. But yeah, I'll see you guys soon in another video soon. Bye.